coming out, guys, and it's called Arknights Endfield. In case you guys don't know, I used to play a game called Arknights well before my days of Genshin Impact. In case you guys haven't really been following my career for the past six years, first of all, thank you. I've made some content that I'm truly ashamed of, but now we're kind of in the peak of where I'm at content career-wise and health-wise, you know, mentality-wise. I'm kind of in the peak of my current career right now. The way that my career goes was Summoner's War, Elune, into a game called, there was like misses, and then I got to a game called Ulala. Ulala is where I got my first real big break, and I really started taking off into the gacha space and getting, like, you know, tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views. And then I played a game called Arknights, where I had some very good success, where I had the same level of success, but for Ulala, but for a little bit longer term, because Ulala only lasts about 2 months. Arknights I played for maybe about 6 to 8 months, and then I quit Arknights, and I went on to Genshin Impact, and from Genshin Impact I played for about 2 years, and then I went on to Honkai Star Rail. From Honkai Star Rail I went on to Wuthering Waves. From Wuthering Waves I now play with Zenless Zone Zero, and now I balance kind of between all gacha games. Then I talk about the news, the drama, and everything going on in the gaming stratosphere, as well as variety content, as well as really blowing up on Twitch by joining things like OTK, pairing up with people like Asmongold, Emaru, and, you know, lots of VTubers. You know, I can name them all, but what's really the point? Here's the problem. There's a new game called Arknights Endfield that's been announced recently. And man, oh man, if you guys want to hear some PvP, well, look no further than the upcoming Tectone Arknights Endfield. What is on my nose? You will have to look no further for drama and retardation than when it comes to dealing with the, to quote EO, the Neo Arknights community. These Arknights community players, in case you guys don't know, are some of the most delusional players that you'll ever see. Everything that they will say on Reddit, everything they will say on YouTube comments, and I want you to notice this, has absolutely no proof, any basis to any of their claims, and they claim, and I quote, they kicked me out of Arknights. Now, why? Why are they saying that? And I'll tell you right now, because they're pissed that I did not need them. They would tell me if I would quit Arknights, my career would be over. And well, here we are now. If you ever want to see more delusional people, or the most delusional people on the internet, look no further than any Reddit thread on Arknights or Arknights Endfield when talking about Tectone. And I shit you not, these people are afraid to even type my name. They will call me T. They won't call me Tectone because they're that afraid of me finding out about them. Well, unfortunately for them, we found them. But I want to give you a little bit more of a basis of why these people have such a negative disposition for me. And fun fact, in case you don't know, besides Epic from Skylanders Ring of Heroes, a guild that I called out with one of my mods called Mateo, that I exposed an entire Discord server for being a bunch of cheaters in a video game that have followed me throughout the games attempting to ruin my PR, the fine folk of the Arknights community are the other reason why this PR has haunted me for 4 years. But what they really don't get is that the bad PR that they give me actually makes more people interested in watching my content and actually benefits me greatly. And it gives me an infinite content farm that I'm now still farming 4 years after all the events that have occurred. So let me tell you what happened. I played a game called Arknights, and I was one of the best players for Arknights. And the way that I kind of quantify that is all of the new maps that would come out, I would beat in seconds flat, and I would do it entirely free to play. I would put a lot of free to play content out for Arknights. I used to be a bit of a guide maker. In case you guys don't know, you're saying sure, chat, but you know it's the truth, right? And I want to make this very clear, chat. I want to make this very clear. It's very important that we don't give these people any type of like fuel or fire, but it is the truth. I mean, you can go back and look at my videos for yourself. Tens of thousands of views of people saying they never saw anybody else do this as quick as I did, right? But the problem is that I was solving these maps, what they can say as a little bit too quick. And the reason why they're saying it was a little bit too quick is because there were other content creators, namely Zeal's Ambitions, and another content creator called Kyostin V, that would make their content by taking the strategies from CN and pasting them into English and American. Whereas I never played CN, I never had interest in playing CN, and I was an American that would solve these maps just as fast as these other creators who would steal, copy, paste the strats onto their YouTube videos. And these people couldn't understand that maybe I was just good at the game, so they accused me of cheating. I went on to make other guides and theory craft for videos, and I'm not like these other content creators, these theory crafters of the day like Zadjeff that just kind of copy whatever Reddit's saying and say, hey, here's this guide that I'm making. I would make content for units that would have special uses and builds that people weren't using that were different from the norm that most people wouldn't consider. I want to reference a character called Bennett from Genshin Impact, whereas everybody was building him with crit rate, energy regen, crit damage, Pyro Goblet, many different switch and swap builds that you could mix any of those in to max his ultimate uptime or maybe amplify his damage. I made a thing called Death Knight Bennett, which was a build that I used for, I believe, 2 years before I even told anybody what artifacts I was using on my Bennett. And this is kind of why I got a bunch of traction into my YouTube stream and my Twitch stream, because this build that I was using would look fucking ridiculous and nobody could kind of figure out what it was. Now, a lot of people started to catch on to the Bennett build that I was using, months later, but I knew about that shit for months before they did it. So eventually when I revealed it, I just said, yeah, guys, I'm just using that build that they started to use about 5 months after Bennett's release. However, it was for the pageantry, the chutzpah of it, of just having this build that the reason why it was so smart was because all you needed was HP. People weren't really using HP percent on any unit. I like to popularize units or alternate routes that you can go with characters to make your worst artifacts, your worst gear better, or to take a unit in a place and put them where they are viable that maybe you didn't consider. Besides the whole Bennett fiasco, there was this content creator called Dreamy in Arknights, right? There's a content creator called Dreamy in Arknights that started hyping up this character called Province. And the way that they showcased Province was by getting every buffer in the game, putting it on Province, and then saying, look guys, look at how good she is, right? And I said, well, any unit would look good if you put any buffer on this character and then use them. And then I showcased them by doing the exact same video with the exact same buffers. However, I used a 3-star unit instead of a 5-star unit, and I showcased in spades that any character can look good when you put every single buffer on them, and that drove them fucking insane. Now, I want to also talk about how there was this ad that I did for Arknights where I said every unit can be a boss killer, because the company themselves that I used to work with hand in hand said that they wanted me to say every unit can be a boss killer. That was an ad approved by the company. Obviously, you guys know that if an ad goes out, every word is going to be heavily scrutinized by the company management. So I started to use this character called Specter to kill bosses. And the problem is that people would say, well, actually, Specter's a delay unit and not a boss killer. So actually, this guy's fucking retarded. Now, I'm going to walk you through what Specter does. What Specter does is, in case you've ever played a character called Tryndamere from League of Legends, what Tryndamere does is when they reach 1 HP, if you press a button, your character cannot go below 1% HP until the buff runs out. Now, what Specter does is you press a button and she cannot die, and her damage is magnified through the fucking roof. So what I would do is I would drop a Specter on a boss to delay him while also nuking the shit out of him, let him walk after Specter dies because the buff ran out, then summon Specter again to kill the fucking boss. And in case anybody was wondering, and you can check all my footage of this, every time I use it, it would work. But the problem was that people did not want to acknowledge this character was a boss killer. They were upset that I called the unit a boss killer, even though the company asked me to call the unit a boss killer. And it made them say I was a spreader of misinformation. Now, fast forward to where I get into the Discord, and the devs themselves, the community manager of the official Discord themselves said, maybe you guys should go support our more Asian creators and ignore our white creator, Tectone. Which, at that point, I drew the final straw, and I said, okay, so I have a community that are retarded. I have the community managers that are retarded. I'm going to go play Genshin Impact and make millions of dollars. So I leave of my own accord because I don't want to deal with any of these people. And they start spreading the narrative that they kicked me out of the community. No, you didn't, sweetheart. And if you really want to pretend that, thank you for kicking me out and putting, as of now, $1.4 million in my investment while I'm living in my $1.1 million mansion. Thank you for giving me $800,000 in liquid assets. And, what are we at? 800,000 subscribers on YouTube, nearing 1 million followers on Twitch, and being what? The top 200 streamer on the entire planet, as well as being the top 100 English-speaking streamer on the fucking planet. So if that's where you kicked me out to, hey man, great. They're gonna continue to push this narrative that Tectone bad, Arknights good, and trust me when I tell you, when I go to play their game Arknights Endfield, it's gonna drive you fucking crazy. Be ready for war, and I'm gonna play the fuck out of Arknights Endfield because it actually looks very good, and I look forward to all the PvP in my chat. It's gonna be a very fun time. But I made a lot of claims in this video, and I want to kind of provide proof and backup of some of the things that I said, and hopefully I don't leave too much out. If you want to see anything else, feel free to go back to my YouTube Arknights videos, look up Tectone Arknights, you'll find proof of all this. I think a great video for you guys to watch is called a Why I Quit Arknights video, where I explain all the reasons why I don't want to play. But I do want to come back to this Twitter thread, which was 5 days ago. Here before it's cool. And what they do in this post, in case you guys aren't knowing what this image is, that's okay, you have no reason to know. The image is, before it gets filled with tourists, I'll let you know that I'm a fan of Arknights Endfield. And the reason why these Redditors are doing this is because the Arknights Endfield is one of the most elitist, retard-filled, try-hard sweats where you don't get any success, you can't claim any of your accolades. CN did it better, EN are retards. And that's pretty much just how it goes. Their community was fucking miserable, and by community I mean their hardcore community, but I want to really hone in here, where they're already saying tourists are not welcome in this game. First of all, any of these people, every gacha game can be enjoyed infinitely more by ignoring their vocal minority, and let me tell you about this shit. Even worse is that drama farming CCs will come to Endfield. Hopefully, a certain someone won't try to start drama with the community again. Just ignore that guy. If he tries to start shit again, does he start with a T? I shit you not. These people were too afraid, and have been too afraid, to call me Tectone, so they call me the T word. Now, we've seen other content creators like Ziox in their chat refer to me as the T word because they're too afraid to speak my name. But once again, this is kind of just the grand reality that has presented itself. And let me tell you why they're afraid to speak my name. Because they know if you say my name, I will appear. And unfortunately, one of them spoke my fucking name. So much so where someone had to ask them to please censor such obscenities, and he shall not be named. I might be insulting Voldemort with this one, the Baldy one. They're that afraid of me in this community because just like everybody else who's too afraid to speak my name, the reason why they are afraid to type my name is because they know that I have receipts and clips of everything, and I will deliver them one thing that they hate, and that is I will deliver them the truth of their wrongdoings. And the one thing they hate more than the truth is themselves. And when I expose them as the frauds they are, it drives them fucking nuts. Because their narratives don't work anymore, their complaints don't work anymore, and they realize the one person they should be angry at is themselves. And that is why they hate me. That is why they can't stand me. And you know what, Arknights Endfield community of the vocal minority, of course I'd like to add as an addendum, I will still do you all the favor of making your game more relevant and more popular on Twitch because I'm just that good of a guy. So, boys, be ready for war in Arknights Endfield. It appears that the Reddit and the vocal minority is still as retarded as they once were, and I will be there to ruin their fucking lives by merely playing their games. And you know what the best thing is? All of these posts that they want to use to discredit me and mock me are only going to be to my advantage. I guarantee you on day one of Arknights Enfield, I will be the most viewed and the most watched content creator in the entire space, and it is going to drive them nuts. Because all they're doing is giving me brand recognition. They are giving me familiarity, and they are making it exciting to watch me because they're making me as the bad boy. So whenever Arknights Enfield is out, I'll be there, and I'm hoping to do it and even more so piss them off and be sponsored by the company themselves, because Arknights Enfield already reached out to give me a beta once. I'm pretty sure I can figure out a way on how to get sponsored by their game. But we'll see. Let's just see how it goes. Hey, Arknights Enfield, I cannot wait to play your game, and it's good to be back. Your king is back, and it feels fucking great.